valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. And a very special thanks to my super thanks contributor at Ohio Trucker 1. And because he contributed more than $20, he elected to do a video. And he chose the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad's Class 6 2662 Mallet, which formerly belonged to the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. And just a quick reminder that if you all would like a video like this one done, all you have to do is contribute $20 toward the super thanks, and that video that you select takes priority over any project that I have going. And with that, enjoy the video. One likely little known fact about this locomotive is that the 1309 was actually Baldwin Locomotive Works' last steam locomotive produced for an American railroad, and that year was 1949. So on that stance alone, this locomotive does have a special place in historical context. So this is a nice change of practice because most of the railroads didn't preserve a historic locomotive such as this one. So this one, someone had the foresight to do so. And now we all reap the benefits of seeing it today. So a brief historical note, this is actually a 2662 Mallet compound, and its design is the direct descendant from the 0660 old mod locomotive, which was number 2400. Historically speaking, most railroads didn't care for compound Mallets because they're just simply too difficult to operate. And because of that factor, many didn't see fuel savings and the additional tractive effort as enough to use it. And so the Chesapeake and Ohio was not one of those railroads who did not use them. In fact, their first 2662 wheel arrangement design came in 1910. The Chesapeake and Ohio used them because they were one of those heavy coal hauling railroads. And because they were, these high adhesion brutes came in quite handy at moving heavy trains of black diamonds with tractive efforts near or above 70,000 pounds. So from 1910 forward, the Chesapeake and Ohio rostered some kind of 2662 Mallet, basically with just advances in the technology of each design, and of which the H6 was the final design in these revisions. And this is a class that the 1309 belongs to, and we're about to talk about in great detail. And right off the bat, one thing that can be said about the H6 design was that the C&O was very pleased with them, so much so that even after World War II, the railroad actually ordered more of them, even though steam was in the waning years and diesel were well on the way to taking over. And ironically, Alco had built just about the entire 2662 Mallet fleet for the C&O, but this class, the H6, was actually built by Baldwin, and as I mentioned earlier, this was the 1309 was the last steam locomotive built by Baldwin for an American railroad. So initially, the C&O placed an order of 25 of these new H6 2662s, but would have to amend the order to just 10, which are numbers 1300 to 1309. Also, there was a coal strike in 1949, and that saw production drop substantially, and the need for more power was simply no longer needed. So this batch of new H6s were immediately dispatched by the C&O to busy Peach Creek Terminal at Logan, West Virginia, where they remained for the entirety of their 8-year career. And of course, as to be expected, as the 1950s wore on, more and more General Electromotive GP7s and GP9s were brought online, and that kept bumping steam locomotive after steam locomotive to secondary roles, if not retirement. And as such, the 1309 was retired in 1956 and spent several years in storage at Peach Creek Roundhouse until it was acquired by the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum in 1972. And there, the 1309 remained for 41 years until the summer of 2013, when the announcement was made by the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad that was interested in restoring the Big Mallet for use in excursion service. And on May 6, 2014, a deal was made that would transfer the number 1309 from the B&O Railroad Museum to the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad for operation, and that marked just the third large steam locomotive in just over a year to begin full-scale restoration. And one of the big ones was, of course, the 4014 Big Boy. And folks, the restoration took 7 years to complete. And that just goes to show you what a small outfit has to go through to get parts or manufacture parts for locomotives such as this, where the Union Pacific had all its resources at hand, and of course its original blueprints of the big boy units, and so their restoration time was much quicker than what the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad could do. And as such, the big compound Mallet, which again was built for coal service, is now the largest of its kind in operation and only the third such type currently under steam power. And the locomotive will be the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad's primary power and excursion service. The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad was dealt with setback after setback, and after costs soared, the railroad discovered a prominent employee stole 12 drive-wheel journal boxes off the locomotive, and that totaled by itself an incredible $251,000. So that gives you an idea how rare these parts are and how hard they are to replace. But as such, the Big Mallet was test fired by the railroad on June 29, 2020, and on December 31st, 2020, it moved under its own power for the first time in over 64 years. The restoration was officially completed on November 19th of 2021. The 1309 made its first revenue runs over the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, leading the Polar Express during the weekend of December 17th to 19th. Of 2021, and the next big event for the locomotive came on February 25th through the 27th in 2022, when the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad and Trains magazine hosted a private photo charter run by of number 1309, all in an 11-car freight train consist over Helmstedter's Curve. On May 6, 2022, a plaque was mounted inside of number 1309's cab honoring former Trains magazine editor Jim Wren, who died earlier in 2022. And during Father's Day weekend of that same year, the 1309 was temporarily outfitted with the Pennsylvania Railroad's 3-chime whistle, which came directly from a T1 4444 locomotive. And in February of 2023, the number 1309 was temporarily backdated to its original Chesapeake and Ohio appearance for the Laro production photo charters. And during October of that year, number 1309 was temporarily out of service for maintenance works to its running gear and returned to service in early 2023. However, in January of 2024, the 1309 suffered some more running gear issues caused by a faulty lubricator, so the locomotive had to be taken out of service again to undergo further maintenance. It was discovered that the 1309 needs new pistons and rods. And folks, for an outfit like the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, this is a major setback as far as cost is concerned, because like I said, these parts do not grow on trees. And I certainly hope that they have the funds or are raising the funds to counter this major maintenance issue that is before them right now. And folks, if you can donate toward their efforts, you can go to www.wmsr.com/donate, and you can make your contribution there to help these folks out, because this is one historic locomotive that we all want to see remain in service for a long time. And I'll also leave a link in the description of this video where you can just click on it and go to that portion of their website. And with that, the following specifications apply to the former Chesapeake and Ohio number 1309, a H6-2662 Mallet, now operated by the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad. The base design, again, is a 2662 compound Mallet. The length of the locomotive is 99.7 feet. The height of the locomotive is 15 feet. The adhesive weight is 366,700 pounds. The locomotive weight itself is 434,900 pounds. The tender weight is 208,200 pounds, and the total weight of locomotive and tender is 643,100 pounds. The fuel type is soft coal. The fuel capacity is 15 short tons. The water capacity is 12,000 US gallons. The firebox grade area is 72.2 square feet. The boiler diameter is 96 inches. The boiler pressure is 210 psi. The main driver size is 56 inches. There are 4 total cylinders, 2 high-pressure cylinders at 22 inches by 32 inches, and 2 low-pressure cylinders at 35 inches by 32 inches. The valve gear used was Walsher's. The valve type was piston valves. The locomotive had air brakes, and train brakes were air. The tractive effort was 98,300 pounds in simple and 77,900 pounds in compound. The factor of adhesion was 3.73 in simple and 4.7 in compound. And with that, I shall end this video, and thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed today's content, please leave a like. And also, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, as both features help the channel grow immensely. And if you do not wish to contribute to my channel via the super thanks, you can do it by also going to Nickel Plate Limited on Etsy.com, which is our print shop, and you can help support us there. And we thank you once again.